Hey guys, welcome back to art class. I hope you had a great long weekend. I sure did. So we are going to start a new art project today for all my at-home learners. And you can see that my background is a little different. I'm at the front of the classroom today. And there are two words that I really want you guys to use in your vocabulary this week. One of them is create, and I know it's backwards on the iPad. Look at that. Woo, genius. All right. One of them is create, and the other one is inspire. Can you see that? Maybe if I hold it down like that. Ooh, look at that. So I want you to inspire people this week. I want you to get inspired this week by art, by nature, by anything around you. It could be by food. It could be by the television, right? And then I want you to create something. Now, you don't always have to create what I'm doing. You could be just drawing and create something. You could be making something out of Legos, right? So I want you to create and inspire this week. These are my two favorite words, and I am constantly inspired by other people, and I am constantly creating. And you know what? If I'm not creating, I can feel my mind and my body and my soul get a little out of whack, and I have to create something, and sometimes it's not anything good, right? And I can just throw it away and start again, but if I'm creating something, it always makes me happy. So create and inspire. We are going to create a watercolor today because I have been inspired by everything that everyone is getting ready for. I don't know about you, but possibly your moms or your grandmas or your aunties have started to try and decorate for fall. I think all of us adults are really missing some things, and so a lot of people started to decorate for fall or talk about fall. And I know fall is coming up soon in the next couple weeks, I think. So I thought we would do a neat little art project. So before I move on, I want to tell you what you might need. So if you need to go and get it, if you need me to bring it to you, leave it at the school, or you can use your supplies that you have at home. You can always alter it, right? You can always create in a different way, right? So you're gonna need watercolors. You're going to need either crayons or oil pastels, and you're going to need some paper. Now, if you wanted to really get into watercolors, you might use watercolor paper. If you just have a regular old paper at your house, that's great. The thicker the paper, the better. Construction paper, right? We need a good white paper. Like I said, if any of these supplies, if you watch this video and you want to do this, and you need some of my supplies, which are your supplies, you just email me or call the school and I will get you whatever you need, and I will leave it outside on the door, and you can rewatch the video and do it with us. So we'll see you in just a minute, okay? All right. All right, guys, so you can see that I have been inspired by fall, and that's why I created this artwork. So my second graders were doing some abstract watercolors with some black glue resist, and I thought, ooh, wouldn't it be awesome if my guys at home could kind of do this fun experimental thing with watercolors. Watercolors can be very, very tricky, but sometimes super, super cool because we can do some explosions, as you can see, and you can get some really different cool looks. Also, they hate oil pastels or crayons. It's called resist, right? We did a little bit with some lines, and it gives it a really neat look. So I have done this on watercolor paper with oil pastel, but like I said, you don't have to have watercolor paper and you don't have to have oil pastels. So what I'm wanting you to do, if you're inspired by this, go outside and find some leaves, right? We have great leaves here on Lookout Mountain and at the foot of the mountain, and we have oak leaves, and we have maple leaves, and we have crepe myrtle leaves. We have all kinds. I'm the art teacher, peeps. I don't know nothing about no leaves. So that's about as far as my knowledge goes. So go and find some leaves and become inspired by these leaves. there's gigantic leaves. I have hydrangeas. They make huge leaves, right? So go outside, do some foraging in the forest, and find some leaves that you really like, and we'll come back and we'll draw them, okay? All right, we're back. It's time to create, right? So if you notice right here, I have two kinds of paper. I have regular just drawing paper, and I have a watercolor paper over on this side. So I want to kind of show you the difference between these two, what they do, how they're going to be, how they're going to act. Now initially with our stuff, you're not going to really be able to tell a difference. It's not until we get to the watercolors where you'll be able to see the difference, right? So we've foraged in the forest for our leaves. So now we're gonna draw some leaves. So first we're gonna start with some crayons. Greens, browns, reds, whatever you see, right? You can turn your paper either portrait, which means the long way, or you can turn your paper landscape. I'm gonna stick with landscape, right? Now what makes a really interesting piece of art is where you place your drawings, right? Your composition, that's a big, big word. And that's how your drawing looks on the paper. So I'm going to start with the big long stem of my leaf, right? And then I'm gonna draw a maple leaf, and my maple leaf has these wiggly, loopy lines, right? Does it have to look totally like the leaf? No, not at all. I'm going to draw the stem. And then they have these cool veins, and I think that's where they get all their nutrients from, right? Just like that. Bam! Skimple, right? So then I'm going to grab another color, and I'm going to go darker this time. Now this is where composition comes in. Where am I going to place that leaf? You can place it smack dabby in the middle, right? But what's more interesting is if maybe we had a leaf that didn't make it all the way on the paper, right? It didn't just quite make it. So this leaves a lot of imagination. Our brain goes, oh, there was supposed to be a leaf there. I believe that there's a leaf there. It just didn't make it, right? So now I'm gonna pick, a lighter green. Now remember, I'm just using regular old crayons. And let's do one of those pokey maple leaves, right? Oh gosh, I don't know if I did that right. But some zigzag lines now that you guys are professionals, and they have those different kinds of veins, right? Now, if you didn't get a chance to go outside and get some leaves and you just wanna look at pictures of leaves or come up with leaves in your brain, right? You can totally do that. Should I do a red leaf maybe? Let's do a red leaf. And I'm gonna come back over here and do another one of these leaves. Oh, I broke my crayon, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it happens, guys, it happens. I like to press hard, especially with resist. Don't be afraid to press hard with your crayon. Oh my gosh, you know what? Maybe I worked out too hard. That's what it is. That means I don't have to work out again today. Ha ha ha, right? So then, I like that dark green. I'm gonna even put one behind this one. This is all about composition, guys, right? I want our imagination to believe that there might be a lot of leaves on this paper, right? See how that looks? How that's a little bit more interesting? Not everything is on the page. I think we need maybe just the tip of a brown one. There we go. Excellent. What do you think, guys? Maybe something over here? Let's fill her up. Let's do another red, and maybe this time, maybe, ooh, you know what? Look at this. I'm gonna go backwards. And I'm gonna do, so you can see the stem. Oh, look at that. That's a great idea. I didn't even think of that until just now. All right, so I've drawn my leaves. So it's time for watercolor. All right, guys. So I have my watercolor, oops, I've spilled the paint. My watercolor paper on this side, and I have my regular paper on this side. I have also done my regular paper in just crayon, and then on this side I have done some oil pastel, so you can kind of see the difference. Your oil pastel is going to be stronger, brighter, thicker, resist a little bit better. All right, so we have our watercolors here, and we want to focus on the leaves first, right? So with watercolor, water is super, super important. We always want to, hello, wake up the watercolors. Good morning, watercolors, good morning. And so I've woken them up with water. And then I'm going to decide, ooh, I want this leaf right here to have some red. And the greatest thing with resist is you can gently, if you're painting gently, go right over the crayon. Right, and then once I do that and it's kind of wet, I'm gonna wake up, hello, good morning, another color. And I'm gonna let that color touch that one and let them blend together. Let them bleed together. The greatest thing with leaves is they're made in nature, and nature is the best painter out there. So you can see I'm letting my colors, typically we would never do this. We would never let our colors run together. That would be like terrible. Oh, Miss Patterson, my colors. I'm even gonna go a little bit. Oh, and you can't even see it. Look at that. Duh, Patterson. So this is on regular paper, right? So let's go over to the watercolor paper so you can kind of see. And I'm gonna do a different color. So this time, good morning. I'm going to wake up the green. Hello. And the green is not totally awake yet. And I'm just going to, I like to kind of skip over mine a little bit, but with the understanding that I can paint right on top of that crayon. Right, and then let's do a little yellow, because yellows and greens, typically that leaf is going to change. So you can kind of see that the watercolor paper is really not any different, but sometimes allows this paint to act a little bit better. It might let the paint be a little brighter sometimes. It really depends if you're using copy paper or something like that. Copy paper will probably, it can't handle it being so wet. And you can buy watercolor paper at Walmart and Amazon. But see how those colors just blended together? Isn't that fantastic? Let's see if I can adjust that so you can't see the glare. All right, so I want you to be creative. Wake up, hello orange, good morning, and be creative with how these leaves look. Right now, you might have gotten some leaves that they're not even close to changing. Maybe you decide how they're gonna change, right? Let's see how that red just covered up that brown. So I probably need to stay away from and not paint directly on the brown crayon. So be creative, use your imagination, be imaginative, and paint in those beautiful leaves. If you want to paint them all green with some yellows, you might have some light greens and some dark greens. And see, now I will say that I don't like what I'm doing right now because it's a green crayon with green paint and I'm not going to be able to see my cool lines. So maybe I go a little lighter, more yellow than anything, right? And then maybe this one slowly starts to change. Ooh. Right? That's kind of neat, kind of different, right? There we go. So keep painting, add those colors to your leaves, right? And let's show you, I want to show you what the oil pastel does, how that acts a little different. So this dark brown is the oil pastel, okay? And your oil pastel, it doesn't matter most of the time if you paint right over it, right? Now, if you start scrubbing pretty hard, it will change, okay? So you don't want to ever paint or scrub really hard. And always, if you're using your watercolors, always make sure you wake them up with water. Don't let them sleep, right? Let those colors just naturally, just like nature, you can pretend you're Mother Nature, let them naturally, look at that coolness that it's doing, right? So go for it, paint in those leaves, be creative, and then if you notice I painted the background blue, you can paint the background black, I wanted to do a background color that had nothing to do with the colors that I used there. So I'm not going to use reds or browns or greens. I'm going to use a color that's totally different. And if you noticed, I used 2 different colors of blue, right? So be creative with this, guys. Get inspired by the next season that's coming up, right? And do something amazing and let me see all about it. See you guys later. Bye.